Okay, can everybody hear me? Houston, do you read me? How's everybody doing today? On this fine Sunday, Saturday. Sorry, it's Saturday. For some reason, I'm not showing up here. Can you guys hear me? You cannot hear me. It says I'm live. Can anyone hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Oh boy, how embarrassing. All right. You're showing up on one screen, but you're not showing up on the other screen. I'm hoping YouTube is recording this. Oh, y'all can hear me. Good. Okay. Well, you think after all this time I would be good at it, you know? Welcome, all you lovers of ancient history. How you doing today? Where are you coming in from? I'm really happy that you've joined me today. I can't believe, that people are actually out there and they want to hear what I have to share with them. So it definitely makes me feel good. And today is going to be great because we're going to dive headfirst into the wild and often woo world of ancient history on social media. Yeah, every day, hundreds if not thousands of claims are made online about our ancient past. Some reasonable, and some not so reasonable, right? So how can you, as a casual enthusiast, or even as a seasoned history buff, spot what's credible and what's pseudo-history or pseudo-archaeology, right? You've probably seen some of these posts. They sound fascinating, even tempting to believe. But behind all these sensational headlines, there's often misinformation, misunderstanding, outright lies, okay? So that's what we're going to be looking at. Some examples of that today. And I want to share with you some simple but powerful ways that you can recognize pseudo-history when you see it. Some of you are really good at it already. You've been around for a while. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. It enables people to sift through all the noise. And that way they can connect with the actual ancient past as best as we understand it, rather than the fake ancient past, right? So I'm going to put this out to you, okay? Oh, look at you guys. Remember, you're all telling me where you're coming from. I love it. We got people here from England, Canada, India. Where else? Ohio, exotic, right? Texas, Portland. That's like another universe. Okay. Hawaii. Great to see you all here today. Tonight for some of you, I'm sure. But it's irritating me that I am not getting you guys showing up on the YouTube studio. But I'm on YouTube, right? You're watching me on YouTube, so it must be working. It's just that I have to look over here to see my chats, and that's kind of a pain. But anyway, so today, let's talk first about some tips for spotting pseudo-history. And you guys can give me what you think might be ways of telling pseudo-history from real history. Okay? When I say real history, I just want you to know, because some people will get irritated. When I say real history, I mean not the truth, because nobody was there. We don't know exactly what happened. But I'm talking about, real history in the same sense as I might say real science. Okay? Science is not always right, but it's the method. It's the way that you do it. It's the way that you present it. That's what makes it real history as compared to pseudo-history, right? So, one way is if the claims are super extravagant, right? Real history is grounded in careful analysis, verifiable data, not clickbait titles, right? So if it's very sensational sounding, like almost too good to be true or too just amazing, right? This is going to change, the whole history of the world. that's sensational, right? So that's where you might want to go, it's a little bit, maybe it's overstated somewhat or something here, but it'll make you a little bit more skeptical, right? Can you think of any other signs for, how we can spot, maybe not so reliable headlines? What do you think? Not physically possible. That's a good one. Okay. Over-exaggeration of dates and years. Yeah, right. This is 300,000 years old. Not verified by more than one contemporary source. Okay? The sources have to be good and, better than just one, right? Well, it's just like that with, like medicine or something like that. Oh, there's a study and it found that, chocolate, will make you live 10 years more, Sounds really great. But are there any other studies on chocolate that I can look at? It's sort of the same idea here, right? Lack of scientific journal by peer review, certainly, especially if it's a new science or something like that. Where's the publication? We want to see the publication in a science paper, right? On a science journal. City under the Egyptian pyramids. We're going to talk about that one. We talked about it last month, but I want to talk about it a little bit more again this week, or this month. Am I missing some here? What else you got? Not verified by archaeological evidence. All of them based on clickbait. Sure. Other things you can watch out for. Narratives that rely heavily on conspiracies, right? There's a cover-up. The mainstream scholars are trying to hide this from you. Yeah? When in actuality, real historians and archaeologists, they are eager to discuss the evidence. They're eager to debate it. They want to openly publish it. They want people to know about it, right? But as soon as they're saying like, oh, this was discovered and they're trying to keep it secret, sounds a little conspiratorial, doesn't it? That might be another sign. They're not all going to have all of these necessarily, but these are just some warning signs. Cherry-picking data, right? Like removing facts or objects that might be contradictory to what they're saying, so they just pretend it isn't there, right? Ignoring context, If you ever see this, where they'll talk about artifacts or ruins or whatever, but they won't tell you what the context is. Like, well, when was this in comparison with other things? What was going on at that time, right? What led up to this? All of that. If the context is left out, and they might even go so far as to take it out of the context and say, well, it doesn't belong there at all. It belongs over here in my fancy new advanced civilization or whatever, right? So that might be another thing. What else you got here? Uncovering what they don't want you to know. Sure, yeah. Can you tell us about A-group culture of Nubia? Not today, but maybe coming up on the next archaeology live stream. Any actual credence to all these recent videos about mysterious structures under the pyramids? We're going to talk about that in a second. Yeah. Stating some kind of superiority complex, or superior complex or something like that, you mean? Or they are presenting themselves as superior, maybe you mean. Yeah, sometimes they might use a lot of scientific language. They'll use impressive sounding terms and things like that. But you might say, well, I've never heard of that kind of science before, right? Or they might use things like numerology type presentations, They use a lot of math, magic numbers. You can make statistics do all kinds of things. Exaggerated measurements, arguments that just misunderstand scientific principles. Trying to prove a negative. Well, they'll say like, well, this couldn't possibly have happened, right? It's really hard to prove that, right? That they could never have made this, for example. Well, how do you know they couldn't make it? We don't know what all their technology was. How do you know they couldn't make it? There's no way. A lot of personal incredulity. Appeals to mystery over explanation, right? They want to talk more about, like, you can't explain this. And it's true, some things we can't explain, but to sort of reject explanation altogether. This is what we're talking about. Sure, there are unsolved mysteries. Of course there are. But to then act like, archaeologists can't explain this. Therefore, we can imagine whatever we want. That's sort of the way they'll present it. All right. They just want to leave you with endless questions. Could it be? All of that. And then never even try to give you a concrete answer about anything. They just want to make it all mystery. So those are some of the things. So the average person, what can they do? Well, you can check the sources. Look for credible publications on the subject by historians or archaeologists or scientists or whatever to check, what they're saying is true, corroborate it. Does this information appear in more than one source? Somebody was saying that earlier, right? Or is it only like in a fringe publication? Or is it not published at all? It's just online, Are they trying to educate, or do they just want to entertain and generate clicks? Consider the intent behind what's being shared here. Now, I sometimes go for clicks. There's nothing wrong necessarily with that, But if that's like the sole motivation, just to generate the buzz and not really to educate, then that might be something to check out as well. Well, anyway, today's live stream isn't about just debunking people. It's about empowering you to think critically about these things and to enjoy ancient history authentically. Developing a sharp eye for the facts, okay? And that way you'll engage more deeply with the incredible real stories that, ancient history has to offer. And I think they're more exciting than myths or conspiracies, okay? So, with that in mind, why don't we jump into some of the craziest, funniest, and most perplexing claims that we've seen this week, or this month. Before we do, I just want to explain to you, if you're wondering what that Super Chat goal is all about, the 20 Super Chats. I don't know if you saw that, but if we get 20 Super Chats at $2 or more Super Chats, I'm trying to get donations for the channel so we can keep, obviously this is how I keep the channel alive. But I'm doing that with the goal, if we get to 20, that means if there's enough interest, I'm going to give you, and only you, that means just the people who watch this video, nobody else, a special discount code. I've got classes online, as you may know. Now, I have these premium live courses, and some people have told me, oh, it's so expensive. But I also, after those live courses are done, I post them online as a pre-recorded class for less than half of the price. Well, anyway, in addition to that, on those ones, on the pre-recorded classes, I'm going to give you 25% off with a discount code. But that's if we reach the 20 Super Chats. And only you guys who are watching this stream, okay, people who watch this video will get that discount code. All right? I'm trying something a little different this week. Last month I tried, okay, we'll do another video like this next month. And it worked, but I can't keep doing the same goal every month. So this is a new goal, a discount code goal. Let's see if it works. All right. So anyway, want to look at some of the crazy, funny posts? All right. Let me, I have to go over to my studio here. And let's do this. Oh, that's not what I want to show you first. I want to show you this first. All right. I don't even know if you guys can hear the sound. Let's see if you can hear the sound.
The Wall of China isn't just a wall. It's a warning. Think about it. 13,171 miles long. Let me put that in perspective. Crossing the U.S. coast to coast is about 3,000 miles.
Can you hear that?
Now multiply that by 4, and then add 1,000 miles. That's how massive this wall is. Now the question is, who built something that massive for centuries just to keep a few nomads out? Here is where things get strange. They started building it in 220 BC, over 2,000 years ago. Back then, resources were scarce. Manpower was everything. So ask yourself, what could have scared them so badly they spent more than 1,000 years constructing this monster of a wall? But here's the twist. Take a closer look. The steep side of the wall, the side designed to stop invaders, it's facing China. Yeah, the defenses weren't built to keep people out. They were built to keep something in. And that brings us to the theory of the Tartarian Empire. They say Tartaria built the wall, not the Chinese. And the purpose wasn't to protect, it was to contain, to lock away something so dangerous, so terrifying, that it could threaten the entire empire. That's strange, right? What was the wall really holding back? They've kept...
Oh, yeah, so what do you think about that one, everybody? The Great Wall of China was actually the Great Wall of Tartaria, and it was meant to keep the Chinese in, not to keep people out. Woo! Well, this is quite a sensational claim, right? Any thoughts on this? What do you think? Tartaria was scared of China? Mongols? Well, you know, the first thing I probably should tell you about this is that video, I don't think that's the Great Wall of China at all. This is the funny thing, right? Maybe they wanted to get a video that they to pass off as the Great Wall of China. Now, you might say, well, yeah, but maybe that's not the Great Wall of China we know, but it could be an older version of the Great Wall. There was an older version of the Great Wall, no doubt about that. But not like that. That looks like some kind of an ancient temple, and I would guess Southeast Asia, maybe? I don't even think it's in China. Yeah. Now, yeah, the Great Wall of China, by the way, it's a well-documented structure. Okay, we have actual sources going back into the Zhou dynasty period before the unification of China, mentioning them trying to build a wall, and then in the Qin dynasty when they unified China, finally they got it going. This is about he was right about the 220 BC, but it says right in the documentation it's to protect against the nomadic incursions from the Xiongnu people outside. Yeah. But they made it out of rammed earth and forced labor. This is not made anything like what is described in the sources, okay? That is not the Great... I'd be willing to bet that's not the Great Wall. But I did try to do a reverse search on it. I could not find where this was, but my guess is it's in Southeast Asia. If any of you can find out where this is, it would be much appreciated. I couldn't find it, but I don't think it's China. I don't think it's the Great Wall. Now, you've probably heard of the Tartaria stuff before. This is kind of I don't know, it got kind of popular since maybe 2016 or something. Because on old maps, you will see Tartary or Tartaria referring to an area in Central Asia and Siberia. And they say there was an empire there. Actually, it's referring to a region. On those maps, it's just referring to a region. Okay? It was a common European name for that region. But they've been running with this, trying to make it seem like some kind of lost empire and that there's a conspiracy to hide it, you know. You probably heard about something about Tartaria. Yeah. And it's coming from an account, Wake in Minds. You gotta wake up, people. You gotta wake up to the conspiracy, what they're trying to hide from you. Yeah. So interesting, huh? So that's one example I wanted to share with you. Let's see. The Great Wall of China was actually built by Superman when he traveled back in time and got bored. Oh, I should have thought of that. Yeah, those round stupas look very Cambodia, Laos. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I've never heard of the Tartaria stuff. I heard of the Tatars. Well, it's kind of related. Oh, Sharon, thank you so much for the... Oh, I got also from Strobex. Thank you. And Walker, thank you for the super chats. Oh, and Rev9886. All right. You guys are helping me out quite a bit. Thank you so much. Oh, and S. Mill, $5. De-extinction of dire dodo mammoth Tasmanian tiger. Well, the dire wolves is kind of interesting, huh? They're probably not dire wolves. It's funny because the people who did it are saying, no, they're definitely dire wolves. It's not my area, I can't say. But the Hanks channel did a good discussion of it, if you want to check that out. And when I say Hanks channel, it's called Hanks channel. Yeah. So anyway, want to look at another one? All right, let's look at another one. Luigi here. So we basically got full confirmation that the Nephilim built the pyramids and that a massive flood wiped them out, and we're all just acting like this no big deal. Now, this isn't like an account that's, as far as I know, it's not one that, is posting a lot of grift or anything. Well, I probably should check to make sure. Someone wrote a community note, which is nice. But what's he talking about? We have full confirmation that the Nephilim built the pyramids? What is this? He's talking about what you guys were just asking about. He's talking about the pillars that they found under the Khafre pyramid. That's what he's talking about. How do you get from one to the next, right? Even if there were, there was a huge chamber or whatever with pillars under the pyramid, which is far-fetched in itself, but even if there were, does that mean the Nephilim built it? I guess because they're really huge and only Nephilim could build it? I suppose. Anyone who doesn't know what Nephilim are, it's from the Bible. Yeah, they're supposed to be the giants from the Bible, right? They're mentioned in the book of Genesis. So I guess he's saying, well, because there are these large pillars that only giants could have possibly put there, that means that giants built the pyramids, But what about discovering that under the pyramids says anything about the flood? Well, the flood's in the Genesis story. But anyway, I don't know how you're connecting this, this new scientific announcement with Genesis. They don't seem to coincide because the pyramids are not even mentioned in Genesis. So, yeah. So I thought it was interesting. Now, but it gives us a good springboard to talk about that. Recently, I think it's, right here. Project Unity, Jay Anderson. Now, he's got 248,000 followers. Okay? He says the Italian scientists shut down debunkers. The old narratives are collapsing, and I'm so here for it. And you're looking there at Filippo Biondi, one of the scientists who worked on this. It was apparently his technology. Okay? And look at, can't you see those are clearly pillars? All right. Anyway, we talked about it last month about this, whether the science was any good. Everyone's very skeptical. I don't think most people are buying into this because it's not an accepted technology to be able to scan underground like this, and for so far underground. Plus all of the water that's under there, and the same technology is not showing up other things that we know are there. So, yeah. But if you want to hear more about it, Metatron recently did a video where the Italian conference was completely taped, and he was translating it for everybody. There were 3 speakers, and let me tell you, these guys are strange. One of them is promoting the idea that there are reptilians. I mean, all kinds of stuff. All right. So this is an example of you have something that looks scientific, right? But when you start to dig down below the surface, you find that there's a lot of mysticism involved, and just a lot of weird woo ideas that are associated with it, and the people involved are promoters of those woo ideas. And you have to wonder if they're trying so hard to prove these woo ideas with this technology, how trustworthy then is this science? Anyway, any thoughts on that? Let's see what you guys have to say. That Malanga guy has several screws loose. Oh yeah, the Corrado Malanga guy? Yeah. He's the one who's talking about the reptilians. Crab people look like crab talk like people. I don't know what that means. Malignant Malanga. The text shows the reptile parts. I don't know what that means. But Musk agrees with it. Does he did Musk say anything about it? That would be interesting. It was the Aardvark people from the planet Kevin. Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, were right. Jack. Woo! Yeah. They're trying to sell their software analysis service. Maybe. Now, related to that, we have something else. Brian Romelli made a post here. It's quite long. I can't read the whole thing. But he's talking about another underground Egyptian complex. Now, this is an older story, but they're keeping it alive. Meet the relatively newly discovered Labyrinth of Merida on March 22, 2008, with the permission of the Supreme Council of Egyptian Antiquities, a team financed and coordinated by the famous artist Louis de Cordier, aka Costco, began research in Egypt. The team included several researchers working on behalf of Ghent University, that's in Belgium, and other Egyptian researchers working on behalf of the National Institute of Geophysics and Astronomy in Helwan. Oh, wait. Oh, that was a sentence. Okay. This team of researchers made an epic discovery. Using ground-penetrating radar, they discovered something that could revolutionize everything we know about our ancient history. Always beware of sentences like that. Called the Mataha Expedition, they discovered what many historians have called the Labyrinth of Merida or the Labyrinth of Hawara, located some 8 to 12 meters below ground level. Wow, maybe you've heard of this. I actually did a video on it a couple years ago. Not only did I do a video on it a couple of years ago, I talked to the famous artist Louis de Cordier all about it. Yeah, he invited me. Well, actually, somebody else, a fellow by the name of Leonardo, he invited me to come on his channel, and Louis de Cordier, and we had a discussion about it. And actually, I don't have time to play it here, but if you want to look at it sometime, we talked for about an hour and 45 minutes. It's called the Labyrinth of Egypt Debate. And it was really strange because we were actually in a virtual reality environment. So, I don't know if you can see that, but I am the guy sitting on the couch on the right. Yeah, and Louis is standing up with the sneakers. Yeah, and we're talking like using this VR room. It's kind of interesting about the labyrinth. But long story short, Louis, even in this discussion, admitted that he doesn't have any proof that he found the labyrinth under there. And he says there was a paper published, but the only paper that is... And I even told him that here, and he still didn't tell me where to find the paper. He said it was on his website. No, there is a paper on his website, but it's not a published paper. It's just some notes that he wrote, and it's not a science paper or anything like that. There's, I think, one maybe image, a GPR image that they showed, which could be interpreted like a building, but doesn't necessarily... The lines aren't even straight in it, so it didn't look like a building to me. So he admits that, yeah, there's not, direct proof of this. He wants to continue, he wants to try to go back. So and he talked about how, well, that's a whole other part. If you notice Brian's post here, let me go back to it. Down further, he says, the Egyptian government has embargoed details on the GPR details, so there is some guessing. No, they haven't. Okay? They haven't at all. Yeah, and then down further, the researchers managed to reproduce an early three-dimensional model of the labyrinth, but for reasons not very clear, after giving the go-ahead for the work, the Supreme Council of Egyptian Antiquities not only froze the project, but ordered all researchers involved, the majority of whom are Egyptians, not to disclose the results of the research. This is a lie. Louis did not say this. I asked him about it. Okay? All he said was that when they gave the presentation, or no, not even that, when the King of Belgium made an announcement that Louis and his team found the labyrinth, Zahi Hawass got angry because he said, no, you didn't. But that's it. Okay? And the other thing he complained about was that he has not been given permission to go back. Right? So I suppose you could argue that, they're trying to keep him from there. But he actually said in our discussion, it's in that video I was just showing you, I asked him about it. He said, well, we didn't, okay, our application, we didn't get it in on time, and somebody else got to go to Hawara instead of us. so we didn't get to go. Well, that's not a conspiracy, okay? There's a lot of people who want to go to places and dig, and you didn't get your application in on time. Whose fault is that? Okay? So, yeah, there's not a big conspiracy. Now, do I think that he should be allowed to go there and look? Sure, if he wants to. I don't have any... I mean, it sounds great. I don't think there's anything there. Sir Flinders Petrie dug down there looking for it and said he couldn't find anything. You know, so... yeah, it's another one of those things where it would be really cool, be really great, sensational, labyrinth, but there's not really much to this story, I'm afraid. My grandpa built the pyramids. Sorry to break it to y'all, but he was Egyptian. He was actually he wasn't Egyptian. He was actually an alien. Okay, Raven. Alberto, thank you for the super chat. Also, Andre, thank you also for the super chat. Hey, Doc, huge fan. Is there an underground structure under the Hathor Temple at Dendera? I've got a video on Dendera coming out in a couple months, maybe? And we go down. We go way down there. So stay tuned for that one, Andre. Let's see. Oh, and thank you for sharing the video, says Alberto. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So, I think that's all the super chats. But anyway, this is the kind of stuff that you read a lot. I don't know what you think when you see these things, but some people, they just love it. They love it. The difference between a skeptical thinker and a credulous thinker, if you had to like boil it down to something very simple, is the credulous thinker thinks about what he or she wants to be true, right? What do they want to be true? And then they kind of go with that, right? Like, well, that would be really great. I really want to believe that, so I'm inclined to believe it, you know? But a skeptical thinker would be more like, that would be great. Oh, boy, wow, wouldn't that be awesome? But, I don't know, I'm just not seeing it, you know? And they're more governed by how much evidence we have for it, you know? So I think if you're like that, you won't be taken in so easily. Could there be a labyrinth under there? Maybe. It's possible. I mean, they got a problem with the groundwater. Already it was flooding even in ancient times, so I don't even know how they would be able to do it. You can't even go into that pyramid anymore. It's right next to a pyramid because it's flooded. And it flooded pretty early, so, you know, it just seems unrealistic. And they dug down there looking for it and couldn't find it. So, all right, let's look at another one. This account, lots of interesting things come from this account. Okay, Jason Wild, he's a Nat Geo freelance photographer. Ever heard of the horned skulls of Sayre? Now, this wasn't some dude on Reddit said he saw a skull. This was a documented excavation in the 1880s led by respected figures like G.P. Donahue, A.B. Skinner, and W.K. Moorhead, real people with institutional ties to museums and archaeology. They uncovered multiple skeletons, all over 7 feet tall, buried ceremonially with horns protruding from their foreheads. That detail wasn't just tacked on later, it was in the initial reports. You don't add horns to a respectable find unless you saw something you couldn't explain. And then he talks about how now the remains have vanished. There are no more skulls with horns. What happened to them? Must be a conspiracy. Okay. All right. So, now I don't know if you know this or not, but back in the early 1900s, this broke in 1916. Back in the early 1900s, the papers were full of this kind of stuff. They were just like social media today. Okay. Larry, thank you so much for the donation. $10, thank you so much. I appreciate it. He gives a look at. He shows the paper from 1916, July 12th, 1916, and look at some pictures here. By the way, these photos have absolutely nothing to do with the article. They did not appear in the article. These are just things that have been found around the internet to kind of go along with the story, but they're not actually from this article or from the site. They're just used to kind of like embellish, okay? But if you read the paper, the article. It is true. They say that. 68 skeletons of men living 700 years ago unearthed between Sayre and Waverley. Well, it doesn't say it there, but in the article it mentions, at the headlines it says 7 feet tall and had horns, right? Wow. Well, it's got to be true, right? It was in the newspaper. And the newspaper, is always reliable. Well, a couple weeks after that article came out, one of the actual gentlemen he mentions, A.B. Skinner, all right, discussed the finds, and this was in the New York Times, right here. Oh, I had it on the right page. Now the right page is not here. Oh, I forgot what page it was on. Let's see, can I go through these fast to find it? Shoot. It reset to page 1, I guess, because I clicked off on it. But let's see what we can find here. Where is it? I don't want to go through 90 pages. Oh, is that it? No, that's not it. Oh, maybe I can just do it like this. It's really cool how you can go to these old papers, Oh, you know what? I think I have a faster way. This article here, from the Peabody, The Horned Giants of Pennsylvania. This contributor, Emily Hurley, basically researched the entire topic, looked at all of the newspapers about it and all the reports. Okay, and that first article, was sensational, but it's not true. Okay, and she found this. Yeah, here's the New York Times article. Here's a direct link. Let's see if it goes right to the page. It does. Okay, so right here, there's Skinner right there in the circle, the oval. He goes through the entire site and talks about everything they found. Now he doesn't mention the earlier article, but he doesn't say one word about any horns or any giants. He just talks about, and he goes into detail about all the things they found in the pits and everything. Nothing about giants or horns. All right, nothing. Yeah, it was a sensationalized article. Okay, just like you might see on X today. Okay, nothing about the giant, and that's why, of course, you can't find them anymore because they never existed. All right, and Emily Hurley also talks about how I don't know exactly where she found this one from. It's not, she didn't speculate. She's getting it from somewhere, but I don't know what source. But she says, apparently while excavating the site, a workman shouted out, "There are horns over his head," after discovering a bundle burial, which had been covered with deer antlers. An excited visitor or reporter at the site heard this and asked another workman, who decided to play a joke and claimed that the skeletons had horns growing out of their heads. Another version says that a disgruntled camp cook made up the story. So I don't think they actually know why it was like that. These are just a couple of possible interpretations. Yeah. So anyway, after this live stream, I'll leave a link if you want to see this. But there's no actually corroboration of this story whatsoever. Even though Jason Wilde says, this is documented, okay? This is documented. Yeah, it's documented in the newspaper. Yeah. Let's see. 6 feet deep. Just like the mermaids that would go on exhibit back then. Used to be a good money in making dead things into other things. I know, right? Yeah. Oh, and talking about making dead things into other things, I got another one for you. From the very same Jason Wilde, okay? The Nazca mummies. You probably remember this from, it was a couple of years ago. The little alien-looking mummies. Do you remember those Nazca mummies? Yeah. Well, he says they're not just a weird discovery or an unexplained anomaly. They are proof that humanity has been living alongside other intelligent species far longer than anyone ever imagined. Okay? He says these small humanoid mummies were initially dismissed as elaborate hoaxes, but with the most recent DNA testing, carbon dating, and anatomical studies conducted by international scientists, the evidence is undeniable. All right. So, is this true? I mean, if you just read it, you're like, well, it sounds science. Look at the DNA testing, carbon dating, and all that. It's got to be true, right? Must be true. Well, let's check that, shall we? Here's a report from the Bioinformatics CRO from September 2023. Genome sequencing analyses of alien Nazca mummies do not support an extraterrestrial origin. Yes, so it goes on to say, they report that these mummies are definitely non-human, but humanoid biological entities, and showcased evidence from genomic studies and anatomical analyses. So they're referring to the original report where they showed some science, okay? But they found that actually it's bunk, okay? An overview of a thorough debunking of these specimens can be accessed at this site. So there's also a link here. In non-exhaustive summary, X-ray experts independent of the mummy discovery group say that the specimens consist of human bones intentionally placed into an arrangement which makes no biological sense. The elongated skulls on the humanoid reptile type presented to the Mexican Congress are hypothesized to be partial skulls from other mummified mammals contemporaneous to true ancient Nazca mummies. So, yeah, the scientists have double-checked and found it to be a hoax. And you can read up more about the science here. I can leave a link for that as well. You probably knew that, of course, already, but people are still online saying this kind of stuff. Yeah. That's why they are why I stopped watching Breaking Points. Okay. They look like plaster of Paris. Dead things into other things is dire wolves into pseudo-dire wolves. They are the fakest papier-mâché art projects I've ever seen. And yet, you can fool some people, can't you? You can find buffalo skulls in Midwest riverbeds like Bluffs, 1 mile west of Norway, Kansas. They had headdresses or crowns made out of deer antlers in some of the graves that the Cayuga natives had in the burial grounds. Last I checked, even the conspiracy theorists didn't believe this one. Well, there are some, anyway. There are some. I guess there's always going to be some. I don't know, how would you rate the ancient aliens believers in comparison to, say, the Atlantis believers? I think most people would kind of put them as a little bit further out. I don't know. But there are quite a few people that are into the alien stuff, you know. And how does that compare with, say, the flat earthers? I'm not sure. Now, all of these groups would be very insulted if you compared them to flat earthers. But I wonder if the flat earthers would be insulted if you compared them to the ancient aliens people. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Ancient dead things into other things. Some things don't ever change. Yeah. Why the world over have elongated head worship? Well, Michael, for different reasons. But there are elongated heads. There are definitely elongated heads in various places, most notably in South America. But also the Maya in Central America did it. And these are deliberate modifications. These are skull modifications done when a baby's very young, and they grow that way, right? Now, of course, this is funny too, because when we think of aliens, who came up with the idea of an alien with an elongated head? I'm not even sure. Was it like Close Encounters? I'm not even sure. But now that we have this idea of aliens looking like that, then we look back at these and we're like, oh, aliens. I say we, but some people do that. But how do we know that that's what aliens look like? Right? Now, with things like art in ancient Egypt during the time of Akhenaten, they have elongated heads in the art, but we haven't found any elongated heads in real life in the mummies or anything like that. So we're thinking it's just the art and not actually the people. Aliens came down to the flat earth and created Atlantis or something. I'm sure there are people that believe in all three, right? Weird head people look otherworldly and thus gain power. They do look otherworldly. And yeah, maybe that's why they did. I guess it would be the elites who were doing this. What else are you going to do? Chop off an arm? Flat aliens. Ah, yes. 2D aliens. Real aliens would be completely unrecognizable to us. That's right, Raven. Yeah. Now, I have another thing I wanted to talk to you about today, but I'm going to save it because I'm going to do a whole video on it. But I got into a disagreement online with the debunker, Dan Richards, about about the different kinds of archaeological dating and what is scientific and what is not scientific. And he claims that I am completely wrong. He even made a video saying I don't know basic science. So I thought I might do a video response to that. So I'm working on that right now. Probably be out next week. So I'm going to save that one. Oh, but I do want to tell you about something else. I've got a big adventure coming up in November. First 2 weeks of November. I'm going to be taking a group of people to the homeland of the ancient Olmecs, Zapotecs, and Maya in Mexico. And we're going to be going to a lot of the great famous places, Palenque, Teotihuacan, and other places. And also we're going to try to get into some places other people don't go. And we're going to look at like the Olmec heads and talk. Basically, it's a class in Mexico. All right? But I can only give it to 30 people. Only 30 people can come along because we don't want to get the group to get too big. And Adept Expeditions is hosting the whole thing. So if you want to get on the waiting list, now this waiting list is not like you're not committing to it. But if you want to be the first to be notified when we have all the information about it so that you can come if you want to, I've left that below this video and you can get on the waiting list. All that means is you'll get an email as soon as we have the details. So if you're interested in going on a trip with me, for those of you that live in the U.S., it's not that far, so it wouldn't be as expensive as going to, say, China or Egypt or something like that. But that's going to be our next adventure, and it will be also the next season of Antiquities Explorer. We've got one more season, though, that hasn't aired, an Egypt one, that's going to be starting next month. So stay tuned for that. I've only got one more episode of the China Antiquities Explorer coming out, and then we're going back to Egypt, and then Mexico. So all kinds of great stuff coming out. Anyway, I appreciate you all coming in today. I appreciate all your support, the super chats. If I didn't catch your name, oh, there's somebody else here. Oh no, S. Mill, is that your second one? Wow, thank you. Did we get to the 20? I don't know if we got to the 20. Did we? Does it say? I'm not seeing a counter here. How many do we have? Did we get to it? I promised I would give you a code, right? You want a code? How many super chats we have? It's not saying. Maybe I can see it here. Let's see, no. I don't know how to get to how to see the super chat goal here. Anyone know how many we have? Ah, does it say it here? No, it's not. What's on another channel, Jack? Something's on another channel? Red, $20. Thank you so much. Woo! Great. Well, I don't know what the goal is. It's not telling me on my regular counter. It's really weird. Anyone know? Does it tell you how many we have? Is anyone seeing the counter? Gotta be 20. Well, it could be. All right. I'm gonna take your word for it. All right. Tell me if you can see this. And if you can, I'll give you the. Well, actually, I could just tell you the code. Okay. Now this is an exclusive discount code. Okay. Former class. I've got 3 classes over there. The Dawn of Civilization. It's all about Mesopotamia. Actually got 2 on Mesopotamia, the Dawn of Civilization and Assyria and Babylon. If you take both of those, you've got the full history of ancient Mesopotamia. It's a good class. Anyway, there's another one called Rise of Rome. You can take any of those. Here's the discount. All you have to do is put in the code when you check out, and you get 25% off the price. And here's the code, and only you guys know it. Okay, the code is, in all caps, quarter off. All one word. Quarter off. Yeah. See, except my chat did not go through, did it? Well, anyway, you know how to spell quarter off, right? So if you type in quarter off, you get 25% off of my class. All right? And I'll do that from time to time. I'll give special discounts only to the people who come here and live streams, and other people won't know about it, so you'll be like the chosen few. Okay? Anyway, I hope you liked the live stream today. I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you coming in and showing your support. It really makes me feel good that there are other people who love ancient history as much as I do. And I will try to do this again next month. We'll talk about some new things that people are saying online. So I hope you all have a great day, everybody.